That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about You Won't Be Alone, the directorial debut of Goran Stolevski, which premiered at the 2022 Sundance Film Festival and has been released courtesy of Focus Features on April 1st, 2022.
Directorial debut.
It's a debut, yes.
That's impressive.
Yeah, yes, I've seen it twice. I think it's a very moving feature. It's doing a lot of really interesting things with gender and sexuality, and maybe the allegory of Plato's cave.
Basic story. So there's a young woman who, when she was a baby with her mother, was confronted by a witch. And the witch's name is Old Maid Maria.
Mm-hmm. And she's played by Anamaria Marinca.
And of course, the witch wanted to take the baby. She needed like the fresh blood. But the mom begged and pleaded and said, please let me have at least 16 years with her. And once that time comes, I'll give her up to you. And the witch agrees. So immediately the mother goes and takes this little baby and like locks her in a cave. And the cave has like some religious paraphernalia in it. So I don't know if she thought that would protect the baby. But that girl grows up in this cave. And the mom does come periodically, we see, to like, I'm assuming, bring her food and care for her. But on her 16th birthday, it would seem, a bird flies into this cave. And that bird is the witch. And the witch kills the mom and takes the girl. So we see the girl try to live with the witch, but it's not going well because this girl is used to her own way of life and the witch is not very nice to her. And they get into a fight, sort of, when the witch says, you know what then? Go off on your own and see how long you last. So then there's a new chapter of the film where this girl goes, and it's important to know that the witch can change her form to whatever she wants, an animal or a person, by doing a certain thing, and this young girl sees her do it. So the girl transitions into an older woman played by Noomi Rapace.
Well, it's also important to note every witch gets something. They get one witch's spit, is what it's called, where they can turn someone else into a witch. And Old Maid Maria has turned, her name's Nevena, or Navina, into a witch.
Yes. Oh, that is important. So what's the young girl's name?
Navina.
Oh, do we ever hear her name?
Only in the very beginning, the mother says it.
So Navina is a witch now, and she transforms into an older woman played by Noomi Rapace. And she lives that life. And we'll get into what these different lives represent. But then from there, she turns herself into a dog. And then from a dog, she turns herself into a man. And from a man, she turns herself into a young girl. And it seems like in the young girl's body, she's the most content. Because also, Navina's mind is like stunted. Like she's emotionally stunted because she grew up in this cave all alone. I think the writing is excellent, and also the dialogue, like because the girl doesn't speak, she's mute, so we hear her internal dialogue, internal thoughts, and her speech is very broken.
Yeah, because she's assigning her own, like she's picking up bits and pieces as she goes along, and her vocabulary grows a little bit. But...
We need to talk more about that because that was very good. But as this young girl, because she seems to be happier in this body, she grows up in this young girl's body into a young woman. But during that time, she had met a little young, like a young boy her age, who seemed to be. I read him as being kind of like maybe he was acting like gay.
I think he was sensitive.
Gay. So, but he's not because they fall in love and they have good sex, it would appear. But throughout Navina's different lives, that damn witch keeps popping up. Which I thought was kind of comical. Because she talks shit.
Oh, yeah.
So that was also very good. But she tells her, like, no one's ever going to believe you're real. You're just walking around in corpses.
Yeah,
you're stupid.
You're dressed in corpses, yeah.
So that damn witch kills her, like, her love, that man.
And then slits the baby's throat.
And kills the baby. So Navina uses her one witch's spit to save her baby. And then she kills Old Maid Maria. And
you know that happens because it seems that the witch always has these claws, which I also really liked.
Yeah.
So the little baby has...
you know that someone's a witch because they have like these nasty claws. And then you see the little baby with little baby claws. The end. I thought the symbolism and the conversation, I got emotional several times.
Yeah.
So I don't even know that I would call it a horror film. I feel like it's more of a drama.
It is. It is a drama about what it's like to be a woman.
Yes.
I don't know. I just think there's such wisdom in how, through this kind of witch child's eyes, viewing the world and trying to understand it is so interesting. And I mispronounced, it's an Anamaria Marina. The Romanian actress is playing Old Maid Maria. So most of these characters aren't speaking because Nevina's mute. And Nevina's played by Sara Klimoska, who was also in Milcho Manchevski's Willow recently. But you also have Alice Englert, Jane Campion's daughter. She's the last one, Biliana.
Oh, wow. She looked familiar.
Yep. Félix Maritaud plays Yovan, the lover that gets killed. There's Carloto Cota plays Boris from Taboo and Diamantino. He's the young man she turns into. So all of it. So we get French, Romanian, Swedish people all kind of in here, and really the only dialogue is between Old Maid Maria and or Navina's internal kind of monologues.
I'll just go through my notes. When we realized, first of all, her mom put her in that cave for no damn reason. She spent 16 years just to get scooped up by the witch. But I was thinking that's how I feel about pets.
That's how I feel about religion.
You know, like when you see little goldfish in just a little bowl forever, or like how our cat is like can't go outside and she's just stuck in this house until she dies. Like anyway.
Our fantastic planet. Yes, love all the stuff with the witch who's just, and we find, this is the part you said you didn't like, is we do get, when Navina is the young girl Biliana, and there's like around that campfire thing, and this older woman's telling the story of Old Maid Maria, and that's where we get the flashback into what happened to her. I did really like that, and I think it does add a dimension to her character and why she acts the way she does towards Navina by understanding what she went through.
I would say this is I would have given this film 5 out of 5 if it wasn't for the end.
The end?
Like that portion where we learn about Old Maid Maria.
Why?
I just thought that it didn't flow well. The other thing too is like we're told Old Maid Maria is like hundreds of years old. So when we see like how she came to be, it doesn't look any different than what we're watching through Navina's eyes. But I don't know how different the world was from 1500 to 1700. But I sort of got confused for a while.
Okay.
On that. I just didn't like that. It just felt like, oh, we have to explain where Old Maid Maria came from. And it just felt kind of clunky and like almost like an afterthought in the story. I don't know. I really, really like this movie, but I will say that part threw me off.
That it didn't bother me, and again, I think it adds a dimension to why. To me, the final scene is when Old Maid Maria's crying, and she's like, "How is it so easy for you?" Because she lived this terrible, horrible life, and she gets burned at the stake in that Day of Wrath, a way of burning. I know I showed you that sequence in that Dreyer film where she just plopped into the fire, and seeing her kind of on burning and her flesh melting after that.
I thought that was a powerful scene when she's crying because it made me think like for any disenfranchised group, women, gay people, black people, whomever, people with different disabilities, to think like when you think about however you identify, whichever group you're aligned with, and you think about how much harder it was for people like me 100 years ago. And that's, but we'll never know, right? Because all those people are dead. But then you have Old Maid Maria witnessing it and actually asking the person like, but also because she's so mean,
but also doing things to keep her down, because this happened to me, so now you're a witch, this will happen to you. And you learn how Old Maid Maria became a witch is also in an act of cruelty.
Right.
You know, she's asking for help because she wants a baby, and this woman ruins her life, basically. I think tears are really interesting because Navina first becomes Numi Rapace, whose name I'm forgetting, Bosilka, which I don't even remember if they say that, who had just given birth, and her whose husband is very abusive. And it becomes clear to her that what gets him off is seeing her cry. But she doesn't feel like crying. She doesn't know what elicits that emotion. And she doesn't cry until she's a man.
Actually, that portion with Numi Rapace I thought was really powerful because there's a lot of dialogue because Navina is sort of thinking through what it is to live this life like this woman. And so she says like, "Oh, when you're around men, you have to keep your mouth shut. When you're around women, you can keep your mouth open, which means like you can express yourself and laugh and have joy, but then not really because like they still have to be on their best behavior." I thought that was very interesting. And then when she does talk about how he wants to see her cry, but she can't. And then she talks about like the detail and how she describes how she learns how to laugh and when to laugh and how I raise my eyebrows and do this. I thought that was very, very well done.
And very depressing. But again, when she becomes Boris, when he sees the death of the young girl, and that's when she becomes Bilia, that's when Navina learns to cry.
Well, even before she turns into Boris, she turns into a dog. And I thought that was funny because the music and the tone changes to be much more light. And it's like during this period in this region, wherever they are with these people, life is better as a fucking dog than it is as a woman. Because the dog looks happy and the music's happy and the dog's just, no one's bothering the dog. So it's like, damn. Then when she turns into the man who is very handsome because the characters say it in the story say it, it's like, yeah, she says like life is better this way, kind of.
Well, and interesting how she learns to enjoy sex
And then she enjoys sex as the man more than as the woman.
Because she doesn't understand what's happening to her as the two different men, Boris and Bosilka's husband, basically are raping her. And she doesn't know to consent, and she kills them, which are also scenes that I thought were quite good. I also like her little romance with Yovan, Félix Maritaud, who's in a film I really like called Sauvage.
I liked how whenever one of the witches wants to change their form.
That's really good. Yeah.
So like if I want to be you, I have to kill you and then I have to disembowel you. And then they all have the same scratch on their chest that they can open up. And then I have to put your innards inside me and then I will transform into you and you'll vanish. And then when I'm ready to stop being you, I just open my chest up, pull out my innards, and I'll turn back to my original form. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
It looked really cool. The first time we see it is when we see old maid Maria turn into a wolf.
Well, you see her come out of the mother too.
We don't see her come out of the mother. We just hear her like tearing her apart.
Out, yeah.
But the first time we actually see her pull innards out is when she turns to the wolf. I thought that was... I don't think I've ever seen that as a concept in a film about witches.
No, and to me, it speaks very much to how simple fairy tales are.
Yeah.
As well, it's just that they can just do that. I think the score is almost jarring with the tone at times, but I like that. It was scored by Mark Bradshaw, who scored a couple Jane Campion things, including Bright Star and her Top of the Lake series.
Okay. There's a scene where we watch a lady have a baby while she's working out in like the cornfield. And she drops this baby and they're like, get back to work.
They say back to the corn.
Oh my God. Okay. Then, oh God. Hearing a baby cry, I don't know if we're all wired to react in a certain way, but like I'm assuming a mother reacts when she hears a baby cry. But when I hear a baby cry, it just is like the worst sound. Mm-hmm. I just get on edge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of baby crying in this movie.
Stop that, please.
Then I wanted to describe when Numi Rapace, when Navina takes over her body, it's Navina's mind. And Navina's obviously not well adjusted. So everyone in the village is like, what the fuck is wrong with Numi? And they describe her as having woman madness.
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, Jesus Christ, like the way these women are treated in this region during this time is so awful. And then it's like, how do you not expect these women to just break down?
Right. But again, they accept that. And they're just like, well, because the mother-in-law is kind because she knows her son is a beast. And she kind of takes her under her wing and shows her some tenderness, which she responds to well. But it's when the man starts acting weird that they're like, oh, spirits. They come closest to discovering the witch when she's in the man.
That's right. That's right.
Which I thought interesting. Numi, who is, I think, does a lot of interesting, might I say, daring films. This is, to me, because she executive produced this, much better than Svart Kraba or Lamb.
Yes.
Both of which also have kind of shades of weirdness in it. But yeah, I don't know. What an exciting, novel, strange film.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. I wouldn't call it a horror film. There is a lot of gore, I guess, but
I think you could classify it as folk horror. I could see this very much being in that Arrow video set that was just released, May All the Haunts Be Ours or whatever, or with that documentary that was recently released, Woodlands Dark and Days Beyond, or something like that. This to me is very much in keeping with that. Or Robert Eggers' The Witch, I think bears similarity as well.
what would you give this film?
Oh, and I did like the one actress who she experiences sexual gratification with as when she's the man is Stamina,
Okay.
who's cheating on her husband with Boris. That's played by Arta Dubrovsky, who is the lead in the Dardenne brothers film Lorna's Silence.
Okay,
And
well,
she also had a beautiful face. I would give this 4 out of 5.
I would give it 4 out of 5 as well. Thank you.